I've worked as a manager for some years in my life.
Yeah.
And in organization, everything is about objectives, about solving problems, about having a vision and going there.
Yes.
You say that you work with philosophy, but philosophy, I mean, has nothing to do with this, because philosophy is about talking, about, about things which are very interesting but abstract. How can you work with organization? And what is the value that you think that your work has for an organization?
Yeah, good question. So every now and again you have to sit back and think with a group of people, what are we doing? And that's what we do. And of course there are more consultancy firms who can do that. And we have a specific perspective, which is philosophical. Because if you read literature, modern literature like Senji, you will see that much of the ideas that we're working with now derive from very old philosophical ideas. We go back to the roots, Socrates in the marketplace. We make you think. People ask me, you think, we don't think? And we tend to say, yes, we think, you don't think. So if you work with us, you will have to think on your vision, on what you want to do, what you want to be, who you want to are, who you want to be.
And how do you do that? I mean,
well,
did you just tell the people just think?
No.
Because I already have the vision.
We ask you what are main topics now. We ask you to make an inventory beforehand of the topics you want to talk about.
Things that worries me in my.
Right. Yes. And then we ask you to formulate some in a few lines and give them a title. And connect a question to that. So you get three things: a title, a short description, and a question. And then we get together and we ask people which of these themes are interesting. And they pick out one theme, they pick out three, or whatever. We start someplace. And we ask you to provide details about the situation you're in. In Socratic terms, that's the example. People have no idea what an example is. We ask them very, very specifically what their experience is. So it's one thing already for them to be able to speak about their experiences. They do never. They talk about concepts most of the time. And then we talk about what is in an experience, we call that the hotspot, the point of heat, which I was talking about this morning, a judgment. I'm not talking in terms of judgment, but the hotspot. What's the hotspot? What keeps you awake?
Experience.
Right, yes. And then we consider what questions have you got here? What is the right question to ask here? Because if you want to make a strategy is an answer to a particular question or to a set of questions. So what are the questions that you want to answer? It's very difficult to formulate. If you don't, you get a vision, but it's not the answer to the question that you have. So there are different steps in people in organizations don't talk very much about emotions. It does something that's, in my opinion, that's the main part. The main part is not on the logos level. I think you have to formulate something. That's the difference between horse and me. I think the main thing is what happens on the pathos and the ethos level. People sit together and have a dialogue, and they have fun, and they think it's sensible. Then something happens between it, connects them, and it deepens their relationship. And that's the actual thing which works. That's what works. And of course you have to formulate something. You're after some truth. you don't have to say that.
And what do you think about the stories? Do you think the stories that you get in a Socratic dialogue in an organization are important?
It depends how you work with them.
Yeah. Because we are selling that.
Yeah.
We are saying to the managers, okay, there's no place in which people can share positive stories, and we provide one.
Yeah, right.
And we collect them. We will collect them for you in a report, and then you will get these stories, and you can do things with your stories.
You know, appreciative inquiry. You know that?
Mm-hmm. Yes, I know about it.
It's similar. It works with stories of success.
Yeah.
They inspire people, and that's, in my opinion, that's much stronger than every story of a failure. People think that people learn by criticism, by pointing out what did not go well. But people, most of the time, learn most from what they already know and what they already are able to do, what inspires them. So, and finding out a joint, so for instance, a corporate story is a very important thing.
Yeah.
Who are we and what are we doing? And why are we doing it?
Yeah.
What are we doing it for? And what is our tradition? Because most, you can formulate a corporate story in terms of the story of the hero.
Yeah.
It started and got lots of difficulties. You're in the same position for yourself. You get many difficulties. And then at a certain point you just want to opt out because it doesn't work. And then it starts working. And then So getting people to formulate a story like that is an interesting thing to do as well. Yeah. Yeah. Well, there are many techniques that you can use here, which sort of are a little bit Socratic, which have to do with questions and reflection, but that also make use of imagination. Yeah. Yeah, because in your work, for instance, in the Myth of the Cave, which is a paper which I like a lot, you've introduced in the tradition of Socratic dialogues all this, because you're thinking that there's something that's outside the realm of logos and that you can get it through images or stories, no? Yeah, right. Yeah. So you introduce that in your dialogues as well, no? Yeah. You can finish a dialogue saying, okay, let's capture the essence through a story or through an image, no? That's what I do. That's what we do, actually. Like Monday, I have a job with these 4 institutes of the university, and we end that day by having them write, all of them, 25 people, 30 people, within a certain theme, and after having done a particular analysis, they write oracles. Oracles? Yeah. It's like what Paolo was talking about, the Socratic daimonion. Yeah. Some things you shouldn't do. Other things, visions, can get the form of an oracle. It's a short, sort of, more or less poetic text. Yeah, like in Delphi. It's great fun. Right. Yeah. It's great fun to do that, and it's it gives you much more space to not only do strategy, but also how does it feel to work here? What would you like to do? Or what inspires you? Yeah. So, but then these are the techniques that we found out. I think a very important thing also is that you find out the techniques that you like working with in this field. Yeah. That's the best thing always. Yeah, I think that's what we are trying to do as well. No? We've read a lot, but then, because there are also cultural things. Yes. Yeah. For instance, beginning with a poem in Spain does not work that well, for instance. No? So we have to adapt and adjust and find, and we found our own things. For instance, in the Socratic dialogue, in order to get stories quickly, we've devised this exercise or this role play when we transform the participants into journalists, and they have to find good stories, and then they have to decide which one goes to the headline of the newspaper. And we create a newspaper
that part of the newspaper where short stories are told.
Yeah.
So
Great.
it's a way to do it,
Yeah.
So
Interesting.
yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay. So it was great to meet you, Jos, and thank you very much.